Tilt is unavoidable. It is inevitable. There are few things guaranteed in life, but tilt when playing League is definitely one of them. But tilt gets scary when it becomes too problematic. It's when tilt from League spills over into other aspects of our lives, kills our confidence, or overwhelms us so much that we can't improve that we really need to take a deep look into what's causing it and how we can remedy it. My goal with this video is to address the why of tilt, why it may happen, why it affects us so much, and give you guys some advice on how we can overcome it. When I initially asked the question of why people tilt in my Discord, I was expecting the majority of people to say that they get tilted from their teammates playing poorly or the game being unbalanced or something of that nature. But actually, there were just as many people getting tilted from their own mistakes in performance. I think that we hear a lot about the person that thinks they're held back because of teammates, but there are a lot of people who just find it frustrating that they make mistakes and it's really easy to beat yourself up for it. But after giving it some thought, above all else, it seems like mostly people get tilted simply because they feel like they aren't getting results. To many, climbing to your dream rank can feel like an impossible task. When you want to accomplish something so bad yet feel like it's so unclear on how to get there, or what you're doing doesn't feel like it's getting you anywhere, it can be one of the most disheartening feelings. I have been in that situation and felt that hopelessness many times in my climb. The reason I think that this is the main source of tilt is because all of these things that we get tilted on are really just because we aren't getting the results. If our teammates are playing bad, that's hindering us from getting our results. If the game is unbalanced, that's hindering us from getting results. If we're making mistakes, that's stopping us from getting the results that we want. I feel like most forms of tilt that we see are all just branches off of this main root of tilt that is not getting the results we want. In my personal experience, this has been the true source of all my tilt. I'll lash out at teammates, I'll complain about champions, I'll tell myself my champion is weak, all in an attempt to protect my ego from my inability to climb. But when I really ask myself why I'm lashing out, it's clear because I think that I should be expecting good results and I'm not getting them. I want to break down and really get into some of the reasons for tilt so that you can all have a better understanding of why you may feel tilted in your games. And hopefully that understanding can help you better get past the initial frustration so you can ultimately continue to learn and improve without the anger blocking you. There will be timestamps in the description and chapters on the video that are going to point to where I address certain types of tilt, so that if you are experiencing a certain reason for tilt in your games, you can go to that part directly. But no matter what reason you are experiencing tilt, I think it's important that we start by laying a foundation and framework for dealing with it. I want this basis to act as a theme for this video. If we remember these key points and bring it back to our goal as players and people, we can apply that to any type of tilt that we experience. Tilt a lot of times manifests itself in things that are outside of our control. League inherently has many things that are out of our control. We don't control our teammates or the enemy team or the champions they pick or the meta or balance of the game. We don't even have 100% control over whether we win or lose each individual game. This is a really hard concept for people to come to terms with. There are a lot of games out there that are going to give you way more individual control over the outcome of the game. I mean, take for example chess. No teammates, no game balance, it's just you, the opponent, and the pieces. Now this isn't to say you can't tilt in chess because you definitely can, but this tilt often isn't because you feel like things are out of your control. But I believe that that's what makes League so rewarding. At the end of the day, life is going to have a million things that are out of your control, and if you get caught up in complaining and putting all of your focus into those things, you're never going to actually make efforts into the things that actually are. And those things that are in your control are where you need to put your focus and attention if you want to achieve your goals. Blaming externals as a reason that you aren't climbing gives you an out. It's telling yourself that it isn't your fault that you haven't made progress. People like to live in that ignorance because it's comfortable when it isn't your fault. But the people who achieve the most are those who can block out all of the external factors that are out of their control and focus solely on their own output. Are you going to be the person to sit and complain about game balance? Or are you going to accept that you can't change it and figure out how to adapt to it? Are you going to blame teammates for making mistakes? Or are you going to figure out how you can help make the game as easy as possible for them? The reality is that most people want to make the world adhere to them. They expect the world to fit their needs when it just doesn't work like that. The people who find success are those who can adapt to the world and utilize its imperfections to their advantage. We need to think of League like a game of odds. Your goal is to not win every game. It's impossible. Your goal is to increase your odds of winning each game. We want to be the best player we can. We want to make the game as easy as possible for our team, and we want to put ourselves in positions to succeed so that when the opportunities present themselves, we are ready to take them. This means that sometimes you can do all the right things and things may not go your way. But if we truly are setting ourselves up for success in all of those aspects, then we will be able to find more success than not. I'm going to dive deeper into this perspective of League soon, but this will serve as a strong basis for everything in this video. The final point that is essential for all forms of tilt is being compassionate. It can sound quite lame, but truly without compassion, we will drive ourselves insane. League is a hard game. If you disagree, I want you to really sit and think about all the things that are required to play League of Legends at a high level. You have to know what every champion in the game does and know how much damage they do and know their key spikes. You have to know how to play your matchups, know how to track the jungler, know how to track support roams, know countless interactions, predict what your opponent is going to do, know the position of your team and the opposing team, know whether you can fight the next objective or not, all while trying to CS, manage your wave, and trade with the enemy laner or clear your jungle camps and watch the lanes. League is an incredibly hard game, and if you don't have compassion for those playing it, including yourself, tilt is an inevitability. And I'm sure we all know that life isn't easy either. So show a little compassion to everyone around you because you never know how difficult it may be for them in that moment. From this, I believe that there are two main forms of tilt. Tilt from externals, things that are outside of your control, and tilt from things that are inside of your control, like your own mistakes. First, let's address these external forms of tilt because I think if we apply our framework, they should be fairly easy to understand. I'm not saying that you won't ever get tilted from externals, but if we remember why we're getting tilted, it can help us stay more calm overall and move past it sooner. The first and most obvious is teammates. With the way that matchmaking works, teammates are by definition out of our control and external. This doesn't mean that we can just play the game like they don't exist, but we can't focus on their mistakes or imperfections as a reason that we aren't able to win the game. Putting emphasis on your teammates' performance is not helping you be a better player, period. What will help you be a better player is asking high quality questions to figure out how you could have made the game easier for them. Was there something that I could have done to prevent their death? Was there a different way that I could have played this fight to make it easier for them to play? Did I use high quality pings to convey the play that I wanted to make or give them correct information? These are all things in your control that you can implement to make the game as easy as possible for your team, and thereby increasing your chances of winning, which is what our goal is. Also, just be compassionate. The game is hard and we know that. Show me a match history of any average player that hasn't had at least one game where they completely solo lost it for their team. It doesn't exist. You're going to make a massive amount of mistakes, so what gives you the right to get frustrated with your teammates for making those same mistakes? It's a harsh way of looking at it, but it's the truth. Cut people some slack and stop expecting the unlikely. Here are some other things that are forms of tilt from externals, some of which are specifics given by players in my Discord. Being upset about game balance, feeling like you have to play against an OP champion or item, feeling like your champion is weak, teammates blaming you for bad plays, feeling like the game depends on your support champion or performance as an ADC, and playing really well and losing the game. It is up to each of us as individuals to create a toolkit and find ways to adapt and overcome these externals. If you feel like balance is an issue, you can either research ways to deal with that certain thing that you feel is OP, or just realize that if you're making fundamental errors in the game, then you have no need to worry about the meta. Fix those errors first, and they will get you the most efficient results. If teammates are blaming you for bad plays, consider turning off chat or muting all at the beginning of each game. I've been doing this forever because personally I find it hard to resist the tilt from my teammates typing things that I don't agree with. If you feel like the game depends on other teammates like a support or jungler, realize that if there are people in your role that are higher elo, they are living proof that there are things that you could be doing that will net you LP. Be ambitious and do absolutely everything you can to be as influential as possible in each game. Finally, playing well and losing can be one of the most tilting things in a game. But remember that we cannot guarantee any game's outcome. We have to play the game of odds, and sometimes the odds are not in our favor. Take a break if you need to, step away and realize that as long as you played well and learned something, you did your job and you should be happy about that. Now let's talk about the tilt experience when you make mistakes or feel like you aren't performing at the level you think you should be. I think that this is the type of tilt that actually led to all my other forms of tilt. When I made mistakes, I had to look for ways to make it someone else's fault to protect my ego, because I actually just couldn't handle it that I made that mistake. If it wasn't my fault, then I couldn't feel bad at myself for not climbing or getting results because there was nothing that I could have done. The problem is that deep down, I knew that it was my own fault. I knew that when I made mistakes, I was the only one to blame, but I just couldn't handle it. It took me a long time to figure out what was going wrong here. I talk about this a fair bit in my How I Got Challenger video, but I'll get the main point across here. My validation and perception of myself as a person was tied to the results that I got in League. When I was winning, I felt good about myself, but when I was losing, I felt really bad about myself. This is what caused me to go down a spiral of anger and frustration, which only made my gameplay worse. What I had to learn was to detach my worth as a person to the results of my League games. Because it is not our results and outcomes that define us. It's our ability to learn and persevere through challenges that defines us. It's the trust that we put in ourselves to grow from our mistakes and be better versions of ourselves each and every day that defines us. It may sound so cheesy, but this quote from Rocky Balboa rings so true.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
The game is hard. League of Legends is a brutal game that will beat you down time and time again, and so is life. You're going to feel hopeless at times, you're going to feel like the odds are stacked against you, and you'll feel like there's no way that you can get through whatever it is that you may be going through. But I promise that through all of the hits you take, there is success on the other side if you just keep moving forward. If you have the confidence to believe in yourself and that you can achieve your goals, then no amount of hits will be able to stop you. It won't happen immediately, and we won't be free from all tilt forever. But if we begin to realize that all of the mistakes we make are learning opportunities, then we won't be so frustrated when we make them. Try to be grateful for your mistakes because it shows that there is more to learn, and learning and improving are what make the pursuits fun. Be compassionate towards yourself and focus on what truly matters. It's not about the outcome, it's about how you respond to the challenges along the way. I know that there was a lot that I unpacked in this video, but I hope I was able to resonate with at least some of you as to why you may be experiencing tilt. And if you at least give it some thought as you play, it might help you relieve some of that tilt. If you want to ask about anything else regarding tilt or want me to expand on any of the points I made, leave a comment and I'll try to do the best I can to respond to it.